homelessness happens real fast sometimes. You know, you don't necessarily have to plan to get there. And I had lost my job. Then the transmission fell out of my car. Then the house I was living in, the landlord decided to sell the house, and we were going to have to move. Well, you know, I couldn't find a job, didn't have any transportation, could no longer stay where I was, plus trying to come up with, you know, a deposit on an apartment and that type of stuff. So we pretty much ended up homeless. Then in addition, I suffer from severe depression, and I became more depressed and actually became not actively suicidal, but I was suicidal by my behavior. And, you know, I was drinking and using drugs and things at that particular time. You know, to be able to have the care and to be able to get the medication that I need in order to, you know, to stabilize emotionally, you know, then I honestly don't know how, you know, how I would have been without being able to get my antidepressants. And knowing that they care, you know, they treat you like a human, and that's I mean, it's really neat. Their general attitude overall is doing, you know, being positive, giving a positive message to each other as well as the clients, and that's a really cool thing to see. Once I qualify for Medicaid and I move on with my life, then there are volunteer opportunities here. These are the people that have helped me, and these are the people that, if I'm going to be giving back, I really want to help give back to them.
Just been dealing with health problems. Yeah, I've never had health care, or for very short periods of time in my life. You know, and to this point right now, after raising 4 kids and getting them out of the house, that for the first time I'm getting medical care. You know, I made sacrifices a lot in my life to try and get the care. When I lost my job, we couldn't live off my wife's Social Security in Branson. We just couldn't make it. So we had to make a decision where we were going to move back home with our kids, or go somewhere that we could get some help. So we came over here and we spent 3 weeks out on the streets, carrying about 300 pounds worth of stuff around, gave everything else away. And our vehicle that broke down. Finally got in over here, and we started putting stuff back together. Well, I get to see a doctor. I get to have tests run. I get to see some specialists. I get some idea of what's going on. You know, I've never had a doctor sit down with me for 45 minutes and listen to me. I've never had a doctor write me a piece of paper and say, go get these tests. We'll see you next week. And then after those tests, well, we'll see you back in 3 weeks. You know, I've never had a doctor say, well, we'll give you medicines for you. You know, so the benefit of this place is that they can surround you with the help that you need, that you can't get any other way.
I've had several patients that have been in that transition. They've come here without any ability to pay for their medical care, and they've, you know, gotten care here, and then they've been able to get a job or get insurance, and they've moved on.
I have one patient in particular who's a gentleman who served time in prison, is not able to get any kind of health benefits, so he comes here for his health care.
I saw a woman 2 weeks ago who has postmenopausal bleeding, about 8 years postmenopausal, and she said to me, when I gave her the biopsy results and told her what, you know, that we were going to make an appointment for her with the doctor at Mercy, and she said to me, this is the best care I've ever had in my life.
One fellow that I remember really well, he walked here. He walked 8 miles to get here. He was diabetic, and he was wearing his girlfriend's shoes because he didn't have any shoes, and they didn't fit him. And his big toe was completely black and gangrenous. It's just one example, I think, of the health problems that we see in this population.
I love to practice medicine. I love the people, and we all have a story. And some people's story includes they don't have insurance or the ability to pay for their medical care. And I just think that we need to do that, take care of people, Sometimes it's people are in transition where they need medical care and they don't have insurance or money, and we can help with that. So that's what I do.
It feels good to be able to give back to the community and to help people.
It does touch you. It touch your heart when you see those people in there suffering and you can help some. I think it's probably does more for me than them.
So this is just a really wonderful place to spend an afternoon. Meet nice people, and you do care for people. That's pretty simple, straightforward.
I actually look forward to it every month when I come down here, and it's a good experience for me.
Because I enjoy it. I like talking to the patients. That's my favorite part. I like to hear their story, and I like to be able to help them.
You know, in some ways it helps me realize how lucky I am in my life. You know, I don't have to have all the obstacles that some of the patients here have to deal with every day. You know, waiting long lines and not be able to afford good food and not be able to afford good health care. So it really makes you realize that there are a lot of people in life that struggle just to get by day to day.
I think it's made me more compassionate.
It's a mission field that you don't have to live to see.
And the patients are, lovely people who just don't have the resources to get medical care any other way. And without the kitchen clinic, they wouldn't get any care at all.
Previously, I might have looked at people, homeless people, people with mental illness or people with substance abuse issues, and I might have judged them and think, oh, they kind of made their bed, they made their choices, and that's why they're at where they're at, or where they are where they're at. But when you sit down and talk to them, and you look in their eyes, and you hear their story, I know that they're but by the grace of God go I. Because when you hear their story, you understand the problems that they've faced, and that's probably not where they want to be.
The people who work at the clinic are wonderful, very supportive, and
the staff here are awesome. Really fun to work with, and I've gotten to know them over the last several years. Look forward to my time here, and we'll probably do it as long as I'm able.
I have both physician assistant students and medical students at various times, sometimes both at the same time. And one of the reasons I bring them is because they don't get gynecology experience in my office, because we don't do gynecology, and they need to learn that. But also because I think it's important that they learn to be good citizens, to be generous with their time and expertise. I think it's everybody's responsibility, certainly physicians' responsibility to share their expertise with patients, whether they get paid for it or not.
But the people that are served here, it really makes a difference in their lives.
We need more physician volunteers, especially specialists like gynecology. We need more gynecologists for sure. We have a long waiting list for gynecology because I can only come one afternoon a week. If 2 or 3 people came even once a month, we could whittle down that list pretty quick, much more quickly.
I encourage anybody who's thought about coming to the kitchen to volunteer to just take the plunge and go ahead and give it a shot and see if it's for you. And I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised at how good of an experience it is.
And I just think it's the right thing to do, and I enjoy it.
It's just been a blessing to work here, and I really enjoyed it.